Oh, hang on. Oh, shit. We didn't do a sync clap. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was spicy.
It wasn't even in sync.
What? It was for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so bad for me.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to do it and I'll clap for you?
Okay.
Is that in sync?
No, not at all.
Holy sauce of a cheese. That was
That's
interesting.
funny. I am Midnight Victoria. You may have seen me in such things as my Last of Us trailer reaction video. Haha! Welcome here. I'm here with the lovely 𝗘𝗓𝗦𝗦. We're going to discuss our first thoughts of the first 3 episodes of the Last of Us series. During this time, we're going to tackle topics such as the casting, the set designs, our character development thoughts, music and atmosphere, the closeness to the game, and some of our top moments from the episodes. How are you today, Cooper?
Delicious.
Delicious. That's lovely.
Especially after that last episode.
I do have to say, I really enjoyed that 3rd episode. I did.
Yeah.
I liked how it kind of went away from their story and told us the story of someone else's.
Yeah. In terms of casting, who do we want to talk about?
Yeah. I'd like to talk about the elephant in the room. You're like, what are you talking about?
I feel like you're just talking about me, but I don't think you're... No, I wasn't in the show, Vic. Stop.
I want to talk about the fact that Sarah was cast as an African-American character in the series as opposed to in the game she is blonde Caucasian.
Yeah.
But... that said, I feel that Nico Parker, who plays Sarah in the series, did such an amazing job with her that
it's our favourite character.
I really did not. It's not one of those things that when I kind of have stuff that I read, I always want it to be exactly as I've read or played it. You know, that's just who I am.
Seen it or,
But the fact that the way that Nico played her, I'm like, I don't give a shit. She did such a great job.
I found the Sarah in the game. I still had that connection to her a little bit because I already connected to Joel immediately in the game. But when Sarah died in game, I was just like, yeah, okay, so let's move on. Let's get Ellie into this. But when Sarah died in the show, I was like, no! Even though I knew I was coming. I was like...
I agree. I agree.
I think she did a great job.
I agree. I literally wrote down the same thing for my notes. I was like, I didn't feel very much when Sarah died in the game, but I was genuinely upset when she died in the series.
I saw her super whiny in the game. Just so annoying, really.
Yes.
And then in the show, I'm like, okay, different person kind of playing her. People are like on the road about that one, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, give her a chance. You know, you never know what she's going to bring to the character itself. And then I was like, oh my God, I want you as my daughter. I will raise you. Come live with me. You are mine.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yes.
Yes. I actually, look, perfectly honest, I love Joel's casting, Pedro Pascal, fantastic. I totally feel Joel coming through there. I only want to see him play a guitar and then I'll be satisfied.
Do you know what I found out while I was doing my little research for this?
Video.
Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel, actually played... Eddie, a freshman in Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode 1 of series 4. And I loved him as Eddie. I thought he was great. He was such a cool character. And then I was like, oh my God, this guy, is he going to be like the new, you know, like he's played The Last of Us. He's been in The Mandalorian, Game of Thrones. Is he going to be like the new... sci-fi. I don't want to say improved because I love Mark Sheppard so much, but is he going to be the new sci-fi chameleon like Mark Sheppard is? You know, when you know how Mark Sheppard's in like all these different sci-fi shows.
I actually don't know who Mark Sheppard is.
Oh, really? Have you watched Supernatural?
Yes. Is he like
Crowley.
the uncle?
No, he's Crowley. Crowley, the crossroad demon.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that was his name.
But yeah, he's been in Supernatural, Firefly, Doctor Who. He's been in like a whole lot of
Firefly. Oh no, Mark Sheppard was not.
Yes. Yeah. So Mark Sheppard's been in all those different things, and now we've got like a new generation with Pedro Pascal coming through and doing all these. It kind of gave me a new look over it because I knew who he was because you were like, oh my God, this guy's been in Game of Thrones, and I was like, okay, all right. So I thought I'd research and see what else he'd been in, and I was like, oh my God, he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh my God, I knew Eddie. He was, and as soon as I knew who it was, I was like, I see Eddie, an older Eddie, but an Eddie.
What about Marlene? I know she's not the next character we probably should go to.
Marlene, I didn't really... I feel like Marlene didn't get enough screen time. If you go through, like... I'm not sure anyone who knows the lore of The Last of Us or anything like that, but in the game, Marlene is actually Ellie's mother's best friend. Ellie's mother dies and Marlene raises her. I didn't feel like the like, I know this is not really casting, but this is kind of I didn't really feel like they were able to show that connection between Ellie and Marlene in the series. I don't know if they're going to do like some background, you know how you kind of do those, like we had with the third season with Bill and Frank, where they built their relationship up before Ellie and Joel turned up, whether or not they're going to do like some of those type of scenes to kind of show Ellie and Marlene's relationship a little bit better. But at this stage, I don't feel like Marlene got the screen time she really deserved.
I know she was only really meant to be at the very start of the game, and then stuff won't spoil anything. You know, I feel because they need to make the relationship between Joel and Ellie mean more, that they're going to not give Marlene as much. However, I did find that the casting was quite good because I instantly thought that, you know, she, not self-righteous, but she obviously thought she was in the right with everything and didn't care about the other people as long as Ellie survived and all that kind of stuff. Cure for the world, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, she's definitely displaying the key kind of things that Marlene does in the game. And she does end up having to show a little bit of like vulnerability to Joel and Tess to be like, I need you to do this. I can't explain why, but this has to be done. Please, for the love of biscuit.
Well, I suppose that kind of does show her protecting her a little bit because she doesn't want to tell them why. You know, but...
And given that she knows what Tess and Joel have been up to and all that kind of stuff, obviously she's worked with them and whatnot in the past. I can understand why they, like, the character would have to be very hesitant about telling them what's going to happen. But, like, Ellie, oh my God, Ellie is definitely a teenager. Super annoying. Going places they shouldn't be going, touching things they shouldn't be touching.
While we're on the talking of casting of... and Ellie and stuff, I'm going to get a bit controversial here. And it's nothing on Bella Ramsey as an actress. I think she's an amazing actress, but I'm not buying her as Ellie. I mean, maybe
I actually feel the same way.
I mean, maybe as the series goes on, I'll get used to her. But it doesn't seem to have the same kind of feel, the rough kind of innocent feel that Ellie had. I am excited to see where she takes her because I know that she is a really good actress. But, yeah, at this point, I'm not buying it.
I do see the kind of rough guts / innocent about things, especially the innocence with, at the end of the third episode, like putting a seatbelt on. Like, that was just completely, like, and I get that. I think what not ruins it, but makes it harder for me to immediately attach myself to Ellie in this form is because I have the face from the game stuck in my head.
She doesn't have that same look,
Yeah, and so I feel like that can yeah, it sort of played with my mind a little bit. I feel like as the series goes on and they do not deviate, but they change up how they give us the kind of same information from the game, that I'll be like, okay, this version of Ellie is a great Ellie, and Bella Ramsey's doing a great job, and I totally accept her now. I think it just takes that little bit of time because I'm so stuck on the game itself. Yeah. So not hating her, not like super loving her. I'm feeling her progress come along, I think, over the next couple episodes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes, because I know that, as I've said, Bella's a great actress. I've seen her in, I loved her in Game of Thrones. She was great. So I'm really excited to see where she goes and what they're going to do with it.
She was adorable in The Worst Witch. And yes, I have seen that because I'm an adult and I watch
one thing I did like, and I only found this out through research, which also ties in with my thought that maybe they're going to do a flashback kind of thing with Marlene and Ellie, is that, and I loved this, secretly loved this, they have chosen Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in the game, to come back and play Ellie's mum, Anna. Which I'm excited to see how
it's a good little nod towards the game.
Yes. I felt it was a really good nod to the game a bit, too. Absolutely.
The other person I loved was Nick Offerman as Bill. Like, it's really funny because all I saw when he first came out was Ron Swanson, and that's all I could think of. Ron Swanson the entire time. Parks and Recreation.
When I heard the voice, my first thought was, hang on, is this the guy from Stranger Things? But I thought to myself, no, it can't be, because he had that similar voice.
Yeah.
And then he walked out and I was like, oh. But I really liked I feel like I think that was part of what kind of made me really love the episode as well, is Nick and Murray's acting as Bill and Frank. I could feel Bill's gruff, awkward character through his actions, and Frank's, quirky, lovable, friendly personality. So it's for far my favourite episode.
I really enjoyed, and like you said, it was more dedicated to the relationship between Bill and Frank, which was fine, and the fact that they made it really obvious that they were romantically significant others to each other and all that kind of stuff, which has been a massive divisive thing all over Twitter, which is hilarious because it's literally in the game.
Absolutely it is.
Like, Ellie even finds a dirty magazine. It's like, this is yet another hint about, Frank's relationship, and people are like, this wasn't in the... I'm like,
it was.
The game? Like, what happened? Just skip that part or block it from your mind.
I liked how they didn't use the original way that Frank had died. I feel like this it kind of gave me like Titanic, when the Titanic's sinking and that old lady and old man cuddle up to each other in bed and die. I thought it was really lovely. Actually, speaking of that, I will just take a segue into my favourite moment of the episode, was the moment that Frank realised Bill's put the pills in the wine, not into the wine glass itself.
Yeah.
I felt like it was very beautiful and sad all at once.
Yeah. That whole kind of scene where he's describing what he wants to happen for him, and Bill's going along with it and everything, and like they're at the piano, they got the music playing over the thing, and I'm like, earlier on in the episode, I'm like, this music's going to have to come back because it's going to be really important to seeing how the relationship finished. And I wasn't sure how they were going to, whether they were going to follow the game more closely to how Bill ends, like life story ends, if you know what I mean. And I know they've done it differently, but I love that. And I even love that at the very end of that episode, when you see Ellie and Joel driving off in the truck, that it's coming from that window. You don't see their bodies or anything, but you just see them driving off through that window. I'm like, they've done my favorite episode out of all three so far. Favorite episode.
Absolutely. I tell you what, though, I was really surprised. One thing that did get me in that episode was the fight. Spoilers if you haven't watched it, but obviously if you're watching this and we're talking about it, you've probably seen it, or you don't give a shit about the spoilers. But the moment when they're fighting with the Raiders, and Bill's out there with his was it a rifle?
Standing out there.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
No cover whatsoever, and I'm thinking,
I know, right? And then, you know, Bill gets shot, and Frank's takes him back inside, and they show, and then it cuts to someone on the front porch in a wheelchair, and I'm thinking to myself, this has got to be Bill. It's got to be Bill, you know? And it turns out to be Frank. And that just spun me out. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, so
how
it
could
was
they
like,
do this? How dare?
you know, so yeah.
But that whole sentiment of being able to grow old together.
Yes, in all that's going on behind and the chaos, they still had that.
Surviving through it, they're being able to be together the entire time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just amazing. And obviously they
getting goosebumps.
I know, right? They have that relationship that they build over time with with Tess and Joel, and like, you know, when he said he gave away a gun for the seeds for the strawberries, I'm like, oh God, Bill is not going to be happy. But in the end, he goes like teary about being able to eat strawberries, and I'm like,
yes.
Like, you melt his heart, Frank. You do.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Let's down his barriers a bit, but only really for you.
Yes, I did love seeing another side to Tess and Joel as well when they were having that tea, and you could see them
look rough as guts.
yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed seeing them in a more relaxed. You know, it seemed like a normal setting in that whole chaotic, you know.
Apocalyptic zombie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The way that they were sitting on the table too was hilarious to me, because you had the two people who were talking and, you know, getting along like wives or whatever, and then you had Bill and Joel sitting across from each other, really stoic, not really, you know, and straight down the line of, you'll get Raiders, it won't be Federal that comes up here, it'll be Raiders, and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, those two are so similar, and then those two are so similar, and I just loved that kind of combination. Yes. What about episode 1 though? Did you have a favourite moment from episode 1?
I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to remember episode 1. It was that long ago now.
To be honest, just Sarah, the entire stuff with Sarah, that whole line was probably my favourite part.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that one. I liked her story of going and getting her dad's watch and taking it to the thing and getting it fixed for him and whatnot, because
he's still wearing it. It's like,
in the game, that watch is a big part of Joel's character. He holds on to that because it was the last thing that he got from Sarah. So I like that they kind of used that,
kept it
in the series to kind of help us get to know Sarah as well before the whole,
and understand the relationship and wariness and really just offstandishness he has to pretty much children in general, because when you first see Joel, it's him picking up the kid's body that came to the QZ and just flopping it. Like, there's literally no care at all for him. He's shut down completely to the idea of like children or you know, all that kind of stuff because of what happened with Sarah. He's like, I don't want to care about anyone like that ever again.
I kind of saw that in a little bit different light. I kind of interpreted that as he's already been there and done that. So he's kind of like, okay, this is old hat for me.
Immune to that whole idea of the QZ has killed a kid. Probably, obviously because he was...
because he's lost his... And it's
because he's not Joel.
And it's because of what happened with Sarah. So he's kind of that's my interpretation of how I saw it anyway, which can work as well. Both work.
Yeah. When we first got introduced to Ellie in that first episode as well, I was like, okay, here we go. How are you gonna make us recognize a teenager that's still kind of rough as guts but still innocent, and the whole interaction between, you know, holding out her hand and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and they go, no, count slower. And then at the end she's like,
Yes.
Instead of 9-10.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
Yes.
I sense Ellie through there pretty much. It was a good part of the episode, but still the whole storyline with Sarah at the very beginning was the one that I just take away.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I absolutely
In terms of
agree.
episode 2, though, I didn't, like, obviously, yeah, there was one part in that episode that actually just freaked me out.
Mm.
Can you tell what that might be?
The clicker part?
I mean, that was good. I really enjoyed them bringing the clickers in. It was great to see that entire scene.
Yeah, when they were like, you're in the game, like they're hiding behind the stuff.
Literally copied it from game to the show, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see.
Yes.
I also said, I think when I was watching it, I'm like, oh god, I wish they'd show some more looting and stuff, but they ended up doing that in episode 3. But the whole like part at the end, again, spoilers, where Tess is doing the standoff against all the zomboids coming in to wipe their ass and whatnot. And this clicker like turns towards her, and she just
the thing in her mouth.
And then the things come out of her mouth and kisses. I'm like, turn it off, turn it off.
Yes. I do remember that. That was a bit.
That's the part in the episode that just, it's not a favourite, it freaks me out. That did not happen in the game, FYI.
No, it didn't.
All.
In the game, when Tess stands off, she's actually standing off against the army and Fedra.
So I understand they had to change it because they wanted to move it along. But, like, I wanted to kind of see a bit more in that scene because there was quite a bit to go there where they were fighting against Fedra, but then the zombies obviously were coming along as well. So then Fedra was fighting against zombies and then all that. And then the explosion at the end. I'm like, but did we see a body? We didn't see it, but like at this point, you have to know that she's gone. But still, but we didn't see a body. And you're always going to be careful because you never know. You don't see a body.
Well, the one thing I did like about that scene, though, because they did have a chat about it earlier, I think it was earlier in that episode, about how they're all interconnected and don't touch the things because they're all interconnected. And there was an instance with one of the clickers that wasn't dead properly, or one of the people that wasn't dead properly, and I think they just killed it, and then the vine kind of went
come out, like it's still connected. They didn't realize that even though we're fresh, they may not have thought that the connection with the vines or the whatever, the fungus had made the connection yet, but obviously it had made the connection, and so that's why they came. I loved seeing Joel do the whole step on the vine things earlier at the museum to check if they were going to be communicative, and it was dry, and he's like, no, it's dry. So it's like, oh good, we can go in. And that they were really secretive about the whole clicker thing. Like the clicker thing probably was my favorite part of that episode. The freaking out thing is a whole different kettle of fish. But yeah, that whole scene where they're in the museum and that's where Tess ends up getting bit and all that kind of stuff. I just, straight from the game, brought to life. The set was awesome. You had to hide. Although I have to admit, while I was watching that, all I could think of was, when we're in this part of the game, God, Ellie and Tess would always jump over the other side right in front of the clickers, as NPCs usually do when you're trying to hide. And, but obviously, it didn't indicate anything to the zombies or anything. It was just the AI business. It was like super annoying and frustrating, and you're like, oh, what if this time they do count it as me interacting with them, and now they're going to be after me bum? I really want to see that happen.
I liked how... because there are people who have not played the game may not realise there are different versions of clickers in the game, and they get more challenging and different as you go through the game. You've got your basic ones which are brand new and they can see you. So those ones you got to kind of make sure don't see you. But then there are the ones like we saw in the series that have the whole fungus on their face, which means they can't actually see you. So it was nice to see Joel kind of interact and go shh to kind of say
and explain.
Don't move, to kind of make you realise, hey, that's because it's one of those ones that you know.
It was fun also to see that it was glass that he stepped on. That was the one that alerted the clicker to where he was. And I'm like, because that was an annoying. You had to be aware in the game if there was stuff on the ground as well as where they were, because that would indicate another way of where they were going to find you. It was, yes, I really enjoyed that episode because of the action and like how much they brought it back to the game.
Yes.
Yeah, but that bit with Tess freaked me the hell out. I hated that bit. Oh, it just gets me. Oh my God. But yeah, so character development wise, I reckon Joel is coming along quite a bit. I think Ellie I'm starting to grow with Ellie a bit more as well. I love I don't know if it's meant to be in the episodes coming up, but there are two survivors that they run into at some point that really...
Yes, Sam and...
Yes.
Someone...
I can't remember, though, whether that was meant to be before they meet with Bill and Frank or after. And I'm going to be disappointed if it was before and we never got to meet them, because that was actually a really big point in Allie's development. Not that I want to say anything in case it does appear in episode 4, but like...
I'll tell you now, they will appear because they have been cast.
Okay, cool. Because I think once we meet them, the development for Allie will be really
Yes. I do hope that kind of goes in that way. What did you think of the set designs?
Oh, I think they've done like that scene where they're in the museum with the clicker and stuff. That was perfect. Like, just straight from the game. I did like how, is it dilapidated? Is that the word I'm looking for? I nearly said decimated once. So
are you talking about like when things are all broken down?
Yeah. Dilapidated. Yeah, cool. Yeah, even
if it's not, I know what you're talking about.
But how worn and overgrown and everything kind of looks. I mean, they've done it lots in The Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff, and I was kind of curious to see how they were going to do it, because in The Walking Dead, while there is overgrownness, it's not very greenish, whereas in the game, it was always a lot of green going on.
Yes.
It was a fungus that took over everything, and I was like, are they going to go Walking Dead where everything just rusts away and is really dull colours, or are they going to throw the colour in? And they did throw the colour in for the overgrownness. There were obviously the vines or the fungus communication Wi-Fi system that they have, whatever going on, is dry and everything, so that will be brown. I was darker colors. I wasn't expecting that to be bright, but yeah, I really like that that's still overgrown green flourishing thing, despite the fact that humans aren't flourishing as much anymore.
Yeah. I wish that they had, honestly, I did have a lot of overgrown, and I did like the look of all the sets and stuff, but I felt like some of the scenes with the cities just wasn't overgrown enough for 20 years of the plants taking over, I felt like it could have been a little bit more, in my opinion. I loved when they were in the bush. That was awesome, and walking down that road, because they'd kind of, if you looked in the background, there were bits of stuff broken on sides behind them, so they were walking down and the focus was on them, but if you were really onto it, you could see bits and pieces as they walked past of the devastation and whatnot. I liked seeing behind the quarantine zone at the beginning. I liked that they did that. I don't think they do that in the game very much. It's been a long time since I played it. So I really liked how they kind of made it feel like a bit of a community kind of thing behind the quarantine zone. You have your job and you get so many tickets to be able to, stuff like that, to be able to do, because a lot of the Last of Us is just basically two people crossing America to get to another area. So it was nice to have a few different things in between. I liked that they stopped for that aeroplane. That bit was a nice scene.
That was a really cool way to bring it back.
Yeah.
To be like, yep, it even happened in the air and...
Yes, yes.
That whole scene where he had to explain to Ellie that people were going to the QZ or being brought to the QZ, but the limit.
Oh, yes, that was...
And there were children in that pile of bodies that they saw, and I'm like, I mean, that really brings it in, that she was lucky to be able to be in there.
Well, she was born after the fact, wasn't she? She was born into the quarantine.
Yeah,
you know, so
like nothing to say that there isn't stuff going back in the quarantine zone at the moment where they are being very selective with how many people they keep alive and babies and stuff. Like, I imagine it would still be quite a bit of an uproar, but they're controlling an entire zone. What they say goes, and if you don't follow, you're going to get offed or outed or whatever. Kind of like
𝗘𝗡𝗦𝗦 in the future type of thing, where you can only have like two children, and anyone else has to be like, you know. But
yeah. Also, Ali, what was happening? Curiosity can kill the Ali in this case. Almost. Well, it didn't really, but it could have. When she went down into that basement section.
Oh my God, yes.
And the zombie thing, I'm like, dude, is there something wrong with you? Because I don't like what you're doing with that knife on that zombie's head at the very beginning where she just
that was a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me, what? Yeah, I wasn't.
I'm sure they were using it to kind of show her curiosity and she's been in the quarantine zone for 90% of her, you know, so she's never been outside and she's never seen. I believe in the game they use a point where I think they reach Seattle and the zoo's like being emptied. And you see all the animals and stuff, and Ellie finds this absolutely fascinating because she's never been outside of this quarantine zone before. So maybe they were kind of using that as a different way to kind of show her curiosity and her, you know, a kid explores stuff that they don't know. Albeit a little bit crazy-like, but still.
It was that was a little bit weird for me. So I was like, compared to the testing in the second episode, that's nothing. That's Ellie's little investigation thing's nothing. The testing, though, that freaks me the hell out. That was worse. Yeah, in terms of predictions going forward, do you think they will continue to keep aligning itself as not as much as possible, but for like key scenes as much as
I think they'll keep key scenes, like they'll definitely keep the meeting up with Tommy and that kind of stuff, but I feel like they're going to kind of, I'm hoping that they're going to kind of do it similar to what they did with Frank and Bill and show other people's story rather than just watching these two people walk across America.
Exactly. Because it was just a lot of exploring and going through certain sections and stuff, and that bits of it's good to show. It was like especially
explore, shoot, find a puzzle, and go through. Explore,
and loot.
Shoot,
and loot.
and loot. Yes, explore, loot, Fedra, puzzle,
zombies,
done.
I'm hoping that they do something similar to what you said. Yeah, keep the key moments there to keep the development going, the story, the plot, etc., but also the characters, and keep you invested in them. But maybe switch it up a little bit. I mean, yes, they switched it a bit with Tess, and it freaked me the hell out, but I still liked it because it freaked me out. They switched it with Bill and Frank, and that was just beautiful. So I'm happy there, Rob. Yeah. I think that's even better than what the game had. So, but given the whole different way of telling a story and everything, like you've got so much more time in a game than you do in a TV show. Really.
Absolutely. So, there's always that controversy because the game, you're in there, you're playing with it, you're making those, connections with them as you play the character. Whereas in a TV series or movie, they have to kind of do those connections differently.
You're watching it happen instead of being invested in controlling what's
absolutely
happening.
Yeah. And you can always get a hit or a miss with games into TV. I feel that this was well done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've done a really good job transitioning from a game to a TV show, and I feel like a lot of games are better transitioned to TV shows because you can get more out of it, whereas if you transition it to a movie, you end up having to cut a lot.
Yeah.
Anyone else, by the way, that has actually stayed for the entire thing, if you have come up with some extra points and stuff, make sure you do share them down in the comments below so that we can get your perspective on things. Who was who was your favorite moments? That too, but also who were like your favorite casting options that they've gone with? What were your favorite moments? What did you think about the design? What about the music? Like that, yeah, the opening scene that they've done, the opening credits thing with the guitar set music and all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic and very Joel.
I feel like they kind of remember Game of Thrones when it kind of had the zooming around to all the different areas.
The same people who made the Game of Thrones made this one as well.
Okay, because I can really see that as they go through the clicker kind of movements and the sound and stuff. So, yeah.
They went with that whole idea, which I think is so cool because, you know, you've got 𝗕𝗦𝗦𝗦𝗦𝗦, which is Pedro Pascal playing Joel, and he's from there. And then you also got Bella Ramsey playing Ellie, who was also Lady Mormont, and like, you know, bringing some of them back together again. I was just like, oh my god, it's so cute! Oh my god, I loved it. Yeah,
I don't think they actually had any scenes together in Game of Thrones, did they?
No, they never met. Also, 𝗕𝗦𝗦𝗦𝗦, but then also Lady Mormont. Sorry.
Basically, anybody in Game of Thrones.
There was some I were happy to see go though.
Oh fuck yes. Yes, absolutely.
But yes, so I think that's pretty much it for the first 3 episodes.
Yes. If we've missed anything, please let us know in the comments below.
Or if we've got things that you want to ask us about, it's like what our opinions are on certain things that haven't been brought up in the video.
Yes.
Yeah, ask us in the comments and whatnot, and we will. Yeah, we're going to be putting this on both of our channels, so either we'll both answer it in the end.
Yeah, and we'll be back for after episode 6 to go through that next 3 episodes.
Yep, which. At the time of recording this, we're 2 days away from the newest episode. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I said, oh, yeah. I can't help myself.
Because you always say, oh, yeah. It's your thing.
I know it is. It should be Hoya, but I just turned it into oh, yeah. I leave off the make and become silent. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We do appreciate it. Links down below. Bye.
Bye.